So on this video, I'm going to show you how to install WordPress on a hosting server. There are 3 actual ways that you can do this. Most hosting companies nowadays have a one-click install, and that's really simple to do. But sometimes there are older hosting companies like this one that I'm going to show you that requires us to upload the WordPress files, create a database on the phpMyAdmin, and also create a user that we will assign to that database, and then go through the install manually. So that will, take a few more minutes to do compared to the modern way of how hosting does their WordPress installations. So let's go right through it. So my local client bought an account on this hosting company called web.com or Arvixe web hosting. This is the first time that I've ever encountered this hosting company, but they are using kind of an older way to do things when it comes to installing WordPress, as far as I know. What we'll do is log into their account, click on login here on the right side, and then I already have their login details. I'm gonna blur that for security reasons. What they have is this. My client who's a local client. But let's go ahead and install WordPress on their website. So right now, if you go to tello.net, it's basically a blank website. What we're gonna do is we're gonna log in to their cPanel on the left side. So all web hosting companies have a different user experience, or have a different dashboard, and the design of their dashboard is different from each other most of the time, but they work rather the same, similar. So they have cPanels, they have, phpMyAdmin for their database. So here's the cPanel. This very kind of a little old cPanel, because I've been a web developer for 13 years now, and I've seen cPanels evolve. Now, what you want to do is you can go to File Manager, right? And as you can see here, they have subdomains, folders. We have the folder. But what you want to do is go to public.html. And this is where we're going to upload the WordPress files. Now, the next thing you do is go to wordpress.org and download the WordPress files. Get WordPress, and then download the WordPress files, and then upload it here. Once you're done with the download, of course, we upload WordPress. We're uploading it in the public.html folder of their cPanel file manager, and you can refresh that once once that's done. You can refresh that, then you'll see on the public.html you have WordPress, right? And you extract that. Once that's extracted, you'll see the WordPress folder here. What you have to do is go to that folder and select all, and then you click on move, and then you delete the WordPress URL directory extension. Instead, just move it to the root folder of the public_html folder. Then once that's done, you go back, and now you can delete the WordPress folder, because that's already blank, and also delete the zip file. So right now, if you try and go to You open to new incognito window and go to tello.net. You'll see that WordPress files, or you will have to go through the WordPress installation process. You'll see this, and you have all the different languages. So let's use English. Continue. So the next page would be saying, it's basically instruction. Welcome to WordPress. Before getting started, you will need to know the following items: database name, the database username, database password, database host, and the table prefix. Basically, those are the specifics or the details of the database that we're going to connect in order to install WordPress. Because basically WordPress is a content management software built with PHP as its core programming language, and for the database they're using MSQL. There. So you click on let's go. So you'll need the WordPress name, username, password, database, host, and table prefix. So let's go back to our hosting. Now, what you do is scroll down and you'll see the database section. Click on MySQL databases. As you can see here, there are two databases that are existing. So what we're gonna do is create a new database. I'm probably going to blur this for security reasons, but you can name your database whatever. Then click on create database. Once that's done, the cPanel will prompt you that you've successfully added the database. Go back, you scroll down and you see my MySQL users. And now you create a user that you will assign to that database. What I would suggest is name your database and the user the way you set up your passwords, with a capital letter, maybe some numbers and some special characters. Set your password. Doesn't match. Okay, now that matches. I would have to save it first. And then what you'll do is go to add user to database, scroll down, and then, select the user that you've just created and select the database name and then add that. All privileges, make change, then it will prompt you that you've saved, the database and the database username to that database. Let's go back here to our WordPress installation. And what you do is copy the name of the database there, right? And the username. Copy and paste the username here. And of course the password. You keep this localhost, and then you can change, you can change the table prefix just to, make sure that one of the purpose is to make sure that hackers won't be able to identify what your table prefix is, because those are one of the factors or those are one of the items that they would attack or use to get inside your website, or to change the tables or change everything or access the files in the database of your website. So you try and change that. Submit. There you go. All right, Sparky, you've made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. If you're ready, time now to run the installation. You know how for 13 years, this is basically the same process of installation. Like looking back 13 years ago, it's the same process, it's the same pages that you see, it's the same, So run the installation, and then you go ahead and add your site title, and then you're gonna add the username for your WordPress account. This is a different username and password. This is not the database username, database password, but instead this is what you're gonna use to log in to the backend dashboard of your website, where you are able to control things that control all the things that your website will show. I'm gonna add my username and then password. Gonna save that. Have my email. At first, we're gonna discourage search engines from indexing the site because we're still building it. We don't want Google to index, the wrong content. So install WordPress. Check that and then install WordPress. And there you go.